Good evening. It is March 18th, 2025, a Tuesday evening. Welcome. God Barbie, God Terry, God Lorraine, who just texted, God D, God Debbie, God Glenda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And those that see this video later, thank you for viewing it, resting, taking in whatever parts seem fitting for you. And I want to clarify, of course, these practices I'm doing now, sometimes they teach you're not supposed to do them without a guru, without a teacher to instruct you, because I'm talking about is this light, this great ray light, how to access it. And it's through breath. um, Buddhist teaches through yoga poses, meditation, and breath work. And what can happen doing this breath work to connect with this light energy that we are, that's coming in via this great ray, the top of our head, that light, the body is getting, feeling it and glimpsing it, feeling it, and it uncovers unconscious things that need to be healed. Even though this is an illusion, we believe we're in duality of subject and object, good and bad. So therefore, these things that's so-called bad or traumatic, post-traumatic syndrome, people in war, in violent relationships or home lives, or etc., never know what it is. You may need to seek help as you work through these feelings and thoughts, because sometimes thoughts and feelings get denied due to the trauma. But part of the healing of A Course in Miracles and Tibetan Dzogchen is to allow these unconscious thoughts and feelings that have been repressed and denied to surface and be healed and let go of. Let go of. And if the people had known better, they would have done better. And if the person who's involved themselves, if I had known better, I would have done better. And then we practice in the Course Jesus's advanced forgiveness, where we look past their image to the spirit that they are. And in Dzogchen, this is called Trechid, Trechod, where we see through, be through their form to the spirit, the clear light that they are. That's the highest teaching. The highest thing you can do is think of images in your mind or out in front of you that their spirit, this Christ light, Buddha light, God light, besides letting go of these thoughts, feelings, and judgments, etc. But anyway, so if during this teaching, I'm going to cover some breath work issues. If a person feels unsteady or uncertain, just don't do the breath work. Get guidance with a therapist or a guru, family friend. I'm not sure who you would want to contact. You'll know, you'll be guided who to contact. Now, the teaching title tonight is How Can You Release Your Inner Light Energy Seeds? See, now I'm calling them seeds, and experience you are a child of light. And during this search to find the thing about the light, I found where Jesus calls it that we're children of light. Now, I can talk about that we're children of light, or I say, oh, we're light beings, and we're children of light. But I have to tell you, other than this week, I had no idea of the magnitude or depth of what that means. None. Because see, there's way more to it than the arc of light being released or the great ray downloading. There is this within the body, there's a central channel where this light energy flows up and down. And it's dormant. This light energy is dormant and asleep, and will gradually open as you practice Course truths, Dzogchen truths, meditate, do yoga, breath work. But what came to me as a result of this last week is I truly, truly had no idea what it meant that we're a child of light. So I'm just going to try to explain what that means, knowing that rarely do people talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it to open up the subject, and then you'll have your own experiences, but I want you to be aware of how meditation or yoga or breathing can help open these energy centers within the body and help open the arc of light and the great ray together. Now, the quote about children of light is in chapter 11, section 3, paragraph 5, where Jesus says, "Turn toward the light, for the little spark in you is part of a light so great that it can sweep you out of all darkness forever. For your Father is your creator, and you are like him. The children of light cannot abide in darkness." Then in chapter 9, section 5, paragraph 6, Jesus says, "When God said, 'Let there be light,' there was light." Now, it came to me this week, because I had to sit with this and ask Holy Spirit, help me understand this, and it came to me, so when the Son of God decided with a thought to create the Garden of Eden, he created the human form to put his spirit inside. But as a result of these chakras in this central light channel opening, I realized, boy, that a lot of thought went into the design. It came to me, the invention that the Son of God created. He invented the human form. Now, just think about it that way. He invented this human form. Now, he had to energize it from the head. If it's an animal, it's still got a head and it's got a tail, but he's got to energize this form from the head to the tail. Now, our head, but our tail is below our pelvis. So how's he going to energize this form? Put his light in it, his spirit in it. So what he did, based on what happened to me this week, there's a seed. There's a white seed. It's called a drop or a white seed. It's in this top crown chakra. And there's a red seed or drop that's in the pelvis area in the root chakra. So picture from the pelvis to the top of your head, there's a distance here. How's he going to get that light to go up and down this body and feed out these arms and the lungs and the legs? Well, he created a channel in the torso, a wind channel. There's a air channel, a breath channel down the middle of you. And then there's wheels of energy that are called chakras, and they spin with energy, the light that he created us from, to energize this invention. But when we were awake in the Garden of Eden, when the Son of God was awake in the Garden of Eden, all these chakras, and the chakra in the top of the head, that's called the white drop, that's called the masculine yang energy. And the energy in the root chakra is the yin feminine energy. These are two, the complementary forces, but in the separation, they seem to be opposing forces. But in the awakened state in the Garden of Eden, this white drop and this red drop, they were communicating. They were in union. From the red drop comes this Kundalini energy that goes up this channel through all these chakras up into this top crown chakra, and the light goes vertically up and down in this channel, and it's open, and it's open, and when it's open, it's energizing all the chakras. There's a crown, besides the crown chakra, the top is a third eye chakra. There's a throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus. These are the main ones. sacral, and then root. These are energy centers that are open. Now, when they're not open, then we have physical problems, indigestion, constipation, the heart's blocked and we act mean. I can relate to that years ago. Throat chakra is locked up, can't speak your truth. The solar plexus is locked up, you don't have the power to say yes or no. And be aware, I don't fully understand the characteristics of all these chakras. And depending on your teachings that you're following, they can sort of be a little different name, etc. And there can be more chakras. But I'm not getting into all that. I'm just getting into what happened to me, with me. Now, in the Garden of Eden, when all of this is flowing and open, the great rays coming in this human form, fueling the crown chakra, going straight down the head through the crown, through the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, the root chakra. It's just all flowing up and down, up and down. Everything's flowing together in union. Dzogchen calls that the natural great perfection. And what that means is the heart and mind are joined. And that means then the mind is thinking lovingly, and all these five senses, hearing, sight, speech, etc., the five senses, you're hearing from a loving nature, you're seeing from a loving nature, because the heart and the mind are united. It's called heart-mind. And in the awakened state, your breath and this light energy are joined. That in the natural great perfection is called breath and energy. Sorry, breath and energy. And then it's called natural body. So when all this stuff's lit up and working, you got a natural body, a natural Christ, Buddha, God body that's animated by all this light and divine love. So it's called natural body, natural heart, mind, natural breath and energy. It's beautiful. That's the awakened state. And then all these chakras are flowing and you get the positive characteristics of them. For example, the root chakra, as mine open, that's a foundation below the pelvis and the spine. It's the floor that holds all these organs. You feel stable and secure and grounded. Now that this happened, I realize I've never felt grounded. But I was talking to Dee earlier, and what I realize is why we practice these truths of the Course and Dzogchen or whatever else you're practicing. You're learning the characteristics of this natural heart, mind, natural breath and energy, and natural body. But the naturalness of all these chakras that give all these positive characteristics of divine living, of God living. They actually occur naturally. Then you don't have to think about them. But yay, hallelujah, I'm among you. We're practicing the truths as we climb up the mountain to get to the top, swoop down from above to see this clear light spaciousness of the nature of our mind. The whole Course in Miracles and Dzogchen is wanting you through meditation, yoga poses, breath work, to learn the nature of your mind and what you are. But to learn the nature of your mind is that it's this clear light, this light that's fueling. You're coming in the top of your head is fueling this God mind, Christ Buddha mind. It's vast, spacious, lucid, vibrant, spontaneous, radiant. That's the nature of your mind. And the nature of your mind is it's forever creating images, thoughts, feelings. It's just how we use them that makes them seem to look bad or sad or dark. Because these things, a person's asleep to their divinity and they're acting from this lower nature. That root chakra really is this reptilian fight or flight nature, and we need ego so we don't walk out in front of a car. We still You still, ego becomes balanced with this Christ Buddha mind. You embody, you integrate both. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. The ego, if our heart and mind are looking correctly, then we're not acting in that negative egoic fashion. That's why people turn within and think there's got to be a better way than this. And then they turn to these teachings, whether it's the Course or Dzogchen. But we're not throwing the ego out. It's all integrated. The body, ego, with this Christ Buddha mind. Now, of course, in the absolute, there is no body. There are no bodies. There is no Garden of Eden. There's nobody asleep or awake. I mean, that's the absolute. But we believe we're in duality, so we need to wake up from this seeming delusion that we're a separate self, a separate body, that we are this body. It's the opposite. We are a spiritual being experiencing this human form. That's because the Son of God wanted to experience what his spirit would feel like inside a body. But then he forgot, he fell in love with the body and forgot he was spirit. So you're waking up to remember your spirit, to embody spirit within this form, back to the awakened Garden of Eden state, etc. Now, but I would have never, ever, I have to tell you this, never, ever would have thought about how important breath work is. Because only through this breath work, where I got the idea about by listening to that Lama Surya Das podcast EP55, where he said when he's sort of out of sorts, those are my words, he does a clear light tune-up where he breathes in and out his attention from inside his mind. He breathes in and out his eyelids. And I got the notion then that I knew, I was thinking this is stated in other, seems to be a fact. We believe our mind is inside this skull, when in essence it's an infinite, it's spacious, but how do you get past the edges of this skull? So with this breath work, with all the work I've done, I realized I still felt limited. So I'm breathing in and out of my eyelids, and breathing horizontally. First, I'm breathing out this way, and I breathe. It's both a breath and a visualization. And I visualize, breathing out my eyelids to, my bedroom or my living room, then my state, my country, Europe, then outside planet Earth, out the universe, to the other side of the universe, into vast spaciousness, because it's a fact that God mind is vaster than the universe, but we don't understand. Most don't understand that, but I want you to visualize that, because that's stretching the limits you've each put on your mind. So I breathe out in front this direction, then I go, and this was difficult to do, is take my breath and my attention to the back of my head and look out the back of my head, the skull, and then breathe out backwards through my bedroom, this country, Europe, this Earth, the solar system, to the vast spaciousness. Because I'm wanting you to view things in a 360-degree, enormous view, because that's how your mind is. It's enormous, vast, spacious, lucid, awake. So that's horizontal. And in the Course, Jesus calls that the horizontal axis, which is the physical plane axis, realm axis. Then there's this vertical axis. So I then take my breath and I'm breathing, I forget which way I went. I was breathing up. Now that's really difficult to do for me, but you have to, so see what you're doing. You're training your mind. You're focusing and concentrating your mind and breath. You're breathing in and out while you visualize, breathing up out of your skull into the sky, right? There's just sky because your feet are on the earth. up the sky. Then that means I go out into the universe. Then I go past the universe. And I pause when I'm at the end of the universe. You just have to visualize you're at the end. And you look out and there's vast spaciousness, meaning clear light past that. Simply think that way and you will ultimately see it that with Christ's vision. But anyway, it's that's so, but then you turn around in your mind and you bring your attention and breath, you're coming back through the universe, back through the sky, back into your head and into the center of your mind. Then I was going down in the bottom of this vertical line through my body. So I'm breathing in, I'm out, come down my head, down my face, down my throat, down my chest, down my torso, down my pelvis, through my legs, into the earth, into the universe. And then I pause on the other end and I'm looking out at the vastness of God mind. Then I turn my attention around and I come back, breathing back through the universe, through the earth, through my legs, my pelvis. And then what happens, this was on March 13th, I think it was, all of a sudden, when I got to my pelvis, I felt something. I've talked to you all about it, this denseness, like that was inside a tube. And see, I just use these words because I can't, it's hard. I'm just trying to describe this there's a central wind channel down, but anyway, it was like a tube and there was this density in it, like, and then it's because I've heard of BINDUs or drops, they're called seeds. I thought, oh, that could be a drop. And then I just started watching it. And you know that, and I kind of lost track. I mean, this went on for about an hour and I made notes, but I realized when I look back through my notes, I kind of lost track. If this drop started right there I believe it started in the pelvis area. And this is called a red drop. This is the feminine seed of consciousness. And that's a physical, this union of this seed with the yang seed in the head causes a union of yin and yang, which is a union of physical realm and then this big spirit realm, God realm, where there's union of this light. That's what these two joining represent, physical and God universe or God spirit. But anyway, this drop slowly started going up my central channel, slowly up, 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 up. And I felt it and saw it as it went up my belly, above my navel, up my chest, throat, heart. It goes through the heart, throat, up my face. And I wondered, where's this thing going to stop? And it went to the top of my head. And of course, I'm not kidding you. I'm going like, okay. And I'm just watching and it starts back down. The drop starts slowly coming down this channel, the central channel, and it goes back down to my pelvis area. Do you know it does that? 3 goes up and down, 3, and that's called, I kind of call it a loop. When it goes up and down is one time. It did that 3 different times through from the top of my head down to my pelvis. I had to Google this and search it. And see, this is very, very uncommon, except if you're going to yoga centers or doing holistic healing with somebody, because could seem foo-foo or like, yeah, right. Well, if I had not experienced this, this is true. Because think back, and what came to me is, this is how the Son of God designed the human form so it could have energy from the top of its head down to its butt. how is it going to span this space and keep all that energy going? And there, it's called a central channel. Um, and then there's meridians. The design of the human body is beyond fantastic, what the Son of God created, and then continued to probably tweak as centuries went by. But anyway, so it went up and down 3 times and it stopped. And I have those notes that are there. Oh, I added and see, I was doing this breathing guided by Holy Spirit because I've never read anything about like this. And during prior to this drop, ascending and then descending, one of the things I did, I'll go back. I want to backtrack a second. When I was doing that horizontal breathing, through my eyelids out that way and then back through my skull, that's two separate breathing practice techniques I had to do. But it dawned on me that I didn't need to have two practices. I was just going to join them together into one continuous movement. And don't you know, it happened. I did it. My mind thought really fast how to go from the center of my mind through these eyelids, zippity doo, through this world, the earth, the solar, the universe, the vast space, back, zippity doo, back through the back of my skull, out the universe to the spaciousness and back. And it became a rocking motion, smooth, back and forth rocking motion that was very soothing. And when I look at it now, it mimics the great ray light that comes in and goes out, because that's an in and out kind of a rocking movement as well. But when I Googled and was reading about this, I know very little about it. I've heard about these things, but there are yogis that spend 30, 40 years with breath techniques trying to open up this central channel and get those two drops to unite. And they use, it's called Tumo, T-U-M something M-O. It's a breath work that is a movement back and forth, and a contracting of the area between the pelvis and the anus is called peridium, P-E-R-I-D-U. It's an area you can contract and helps people in urination or not if they have trouble containing urine and leaking of urine, right? There's practical points to all this holistic healing and etc. But I'm just explaining there's a whole world out there, usually in the East, where they understand this and they're trying to get these channels, chakras, and those two seeds to join. And a rocking motion is part of it. I apologize because I'm not explaining this well, but naturally, I think that movement that I was doing, where I was taking my breath and moving quickly back and forth, what's happening, that breath work was joining with the clear light, the light of spirit. Because remember, in the Garden of Eden, breath and spirit are united. And now I feel when that breath and light are united, heart and mind's united, natural, that is just part of this awakening and enlightenment. Things are no longer separate states. Breath and energy are together, heart, mind are together, yin and yang. This is yin and yang are joined, united, no longer separate. This is basically how the Son of God energized the human form. And this crown chakra is called Sahasrara. It's a chakra that has 1,000 petals. It's the top chakra And when it's open, you are connected to your the divine spirit light. It's open. And when it's open, then it's united with that root chakra, and all your chakras are open. And you're just pulsating light. As you awaken, various times you'll feel vibrations of light because these things start to open and you're not truly aware of what's going on. I wasn't. Or you feel lighter, or in your mind you see colors of light. That means your chakras are opening. These light centers are opening because you're a child of light. Now, another bizarre thing that occurred, see, I couldn't make this stuff up because this is the mind, the Christ Buddha mind, healing itself and healing my body to make we for us to embody Christ virtues, Buddha God virtues, to embody that God, that spirit and light, are in union with the form. It's not separate. They're not two separate things. Enlightenment, awakening is a union. Yoga means union of not just our spirit light, but union with the form. I just, to such a contentment and a stabilization. And when I look back on my life, I realize I have been forever nervous, forever anxious, because I couldn't breathe. I was shallow breathing from the chest instead of the belly. I've only been able to breathe consistently from the belly in the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is a way you can, anyone you know that's anxious, fearful, breath work will surely help them. That, but let alone that it helps heal in so many ways. But stability, security, feeling secure in what I am, a spirit embodying this form. I listed a whole thing of characteristics. Let's see if I can find it. Because, and there are characteristics that these chakras have: calmness, consistent, peaceful beingness. Because that was hard. So like, what's beingness? How do you be? How do you just be? Well, you do the best you can, resting in that, laying on that ocean floor and resting. And you just can rest your weary heart and mind, and to just be in that clear light of spirit that you are. And just, you just do what practices you can, where ultimately you will 24/7 feel calmness of beingness. I never would have expected this. And an ability to see through everything to its essence. Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, avenged forgiveness is look beyond the body, not to the flesh, but to the spirit that's there. And that's what I would, or we say, I love you, God, or in Dzogchen Trechid, where we see through the form to the clear light, and it's called a practice. And that's why I would practice during the day, and Dee talked about it here, is as we practice, that's bringing these truths deeper and deeper into our mind and unconscious mind, to how that's how we live. But where she was focusing on her third eye when she was talking to somebody, and that helped remind her they're a Christ, they're a God spirit sitting, standing right there. That's a practice that, in essence, she's seen through the form to the essence, the clear light essence, the spirit that's there. However each of you practice, it's huge. It saves you centuries of effort. But that's called in Dzogchen integrating form and emptiness, or this clear light. And I've talked with you about that over the months here, where I would go, I was in the middle now. I'm in the middle, not on the outside looking in on all these forms. I'm in the middle, so that's like the Great Ray Tube looking out, because the Great Ray Tube's in the center, because the Great Ray Tube is animating the whole universe. This Great Ray Tube is sending light energy out through the whole universe. But that's where I would be seeing myself standing there in the center of that Great Ray Tube, starting to feel that light pulsate out of me, where my heartbeat had joined with my breath and the Great Ray in and out movement to join and pulsate just out of my entire form throughout the whole universe. Well, but now what the deal is, I see the form and immediately also, before I would have to practice to see, but now I see my internet's a little unstable. But now that integration or form and the together, yet I see the clear light that's there. I never was the deal, but on Mars meditating, Timo Speckens leads a healing center on Wednesday morning where he plays piano that has very sounds, and he speaks truths as he plays. And that's for 30 minutes. It's called a sound healing. And those sounds are certain vibrations that go through the body. See, that's another way to allow light to go through you to help energize, touch these chakras, touch these light centers to open them up. But anyway, while I'm in meditation, listening to all those beautiful notes that he's playing, I look in my mind and see, it's normal for me now, like Dee and I were talking about what we visualize each during the day to remember we're spirit. But one thing was starting to visualize was I would be standing when I walked through my condo, that my body was standing in the middle of the Great Ray, and I was walking within the Great Ray, and everything around me are physical forms of the universe, the Garden of Eden, right? The Great Ray's the light that comes down the middle, and it's like the center of the cosmic wheel, like the center of the universe. There's got to be something fueling the universe, animating it. It's the Great Ray. But anyway, I got that down. I could see I was, because I could feel this pulsating light, it just became natural that I was within this Great Ray, but I was pulsating light out. So, but within that meditation, I looked in my mind, I'm not kidding you. I had to take a double take, maybe a triple take. As I looked in my mind, I saw suspended in air was this full lotus that's open, with all the petals. You see pictures of it. And you see pictures of like Buddha sitting on a lotus, or other deities. They're sitting on this full lotus and they're sitting there cross-legged, right? Well, I look at this, I look at my mind, and I take like that double and triple take, and sitting on this full lotus, suspended in air, was my face and my body sitting cross-legged on this lotus, fully open lotus. And whoa, what? And after I came out of meditation, I thought about this. I never, ever, even ever thought about visualizing that my body would be on a lotus suspended in air. I never, but see, you can visualize that now that this has happened to me. This is how your true existence is, your natural state, when you seem to live in this delusion or illusion of a separate Garden of Eden. That is your awakened Buddha, Christ, body, that lotus is fully open, it is representing all these chakras that are open within your body. Every chakra has lotus petals, and those are just light shapes. I don't know how to explain it, but the one on top of your head is 1,000 petals, folks. It is 20 layers of 50 petals each. It's like a soft crown. And in the middle of it is a white drop or a white center. That's that white drop. And in Buddhism, there's things called stupas where they bury people, holy people. And stupas, they're kind of round, the top of these buildings, they're round and they kind of have a little tapered and there's a point to the top. Well, what they're representing is this crown chakra opened. This Sahasrara, it's a crown chakra. And I want to read a description of it because it's many more people, way more than I know, and describe it. The crown chakra, Sahasrara, the crown chakra, is which means Sahasrara, which means 1,000 petaled lotus, is generally considered to be the chakra of pure consciousness, within which there's neither object nor subject. There you go. That's non-duality. Pure, that's your pure Christ Buddha consciousness that's aware and awake in this realm. But anyway, when the female Kundalini energy rises to this point, it unites with the male energy and a state of liberating samadhi is attained, symbolized by a lotus with 1,000 multicolored petals. It's located either at the crown of the head or above the crown of the head. Sahasrara is represented by the color white and involves such issues as inner wisdom and the death of the body. Because see, you've let go of the thought you're a body. That's a course, that's Dzogchen. You're not a body, you are spirit. Its role may be envisioned somewhat similar to that of the pituitary gland, which secretes hormones to communicate to the rest of the endocrine system, and also connects to the central nervous system via the hypothalamus. Now see, in the pituitary gland, in your mind, it connects, in your head, it secretes hormones to communicate with the rest of your endocrine system and central nervous system. Well, what they're trying to tell you is this chakra is the chakra that communicates, is called the subtle body. Y'all are getting a lot of info here, and it just kind of let this just settle in your unconscious mind, because we got a physical body, right? But I never ever thought about under this, fueling this physical body is a subtle, S-U-B-T-L-E body. That's this energetic light body. Huh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we do. Within this chakra is contained the white drop or bodhicitta, which is the essence of masculine energy. Oh, yeah. And now see, that's the white drop. That connects us to spirit, our spirit light. But the base chakra is this red drop. I'm going to read, let's see, where's that little thing? And that's called Muladhara, is represented by as a yellow square with 4 red petals. Let me see here. This chakra is where the 3 channels are merged. See, down the middle of the body, there's 3 wind channels, but the breath, that's the breath, the breath is going with that light energy down this middle. But anyway, this chakra is where the 3 channels are merged, then separate and begin their upward movement. So your breath work I was doing inadvertently, I didn't know what I was doing. I was bringing my breath up the middle of this channel that contains these winds that carried that red drop up to this crown chakra to unite with it. It's the seat of the red bindu, the female drop. Dun, da, da. Okay, I just want, and then below those are these other channels, but once these two are united, they automatically open all the others. There's no, automatically. It's like, what? And then you start to naturally feel all the characteristics that that when you Google these chakras, you'll naturally feel all the characteristics that those chakras produce, that you've been working on producing. Peace, love, calmness, groundedness, connectedness, all those things we've been practicing on. You naturally feel them. Let's see what else my notes say here. Yeah, we're uniting individual consciousness and the universal or God. It's the point of emergence of divine into form. Yeah, it truly is. It's like, yes. Let's see what else I missed that I was talking about. Oh, I want to share something. So, about this, the gut is, and being guided what to do or say. Picture this. In my family, I have nieces, nephews, great nieces, great nephews, and a sister, of course, and a brother-in-law that live here locally, right 2 doors from me, my sister and brother-in-law. So normally I would move heaven and earth, meaning change my damn schedule to go to an event for any of my nieces, great nephews, to be with them, right? Musical, a symphony, orchestra stuff they do, etc. And I'd been invited to a project with one of my great nieces, and I'd agreed to go. But during last Wednesday, when all this was going on, these things were starting to go on Wednesday, these chakras were opening up. And on that Wednesday, that was a Wednesday morning when the drop was ascending and descending. Don't you know, I got the feeling and the thought to not go to that event. And I kind of sat with that, but I felt really sure about it. I have to tell you, this is a first for me. I'm like usually Johnny on it. I called my sister and explained I just didn't feel like going and give my apologies. And now in olden days, I wrote that in the email. The ego would have been, yep. That's a bad aunt not going to her great niece's thing. You know, I heard a smidge of that, but I wasn't paying attention because for some reason, I knew that's what I was supposed to do. Now, see, I've never done that. And one of the characteristics of these openings of this light centers that energize our form, but you don't know it, when they're shut down, we're not feeling energized. One of them is the ability to speak your truth, but to get these knowings out of your intuition or gut. And how this is important is, don't you know, I would have ridden in the vehicle with my sister and brother-in-law to go to this event. 3 days after that, I was told my sister has COVID. So now, the time for when somebody's exposed to COVID and then gets COVID can be 3 or 4 days. Who knows? Whatever. Well, I firmly believe that was Holy Spirit keeping, not putting me exposed to COVID. That's what I believe. You can take from it what you want, but it was like, I wasn't, and then what's also bizarre, normally I might visit my sister or something. This was like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Kind of deal. I didn't visit her. Now, what the hey? Well, Holy Spirit's keeping me safe. But I wasn't in the past listening. Okay, now that's one. And then just this unveiling in my mind that everything's perfect just like it is, which is hard to take when I'm looking at some things. But so I forget when this was. Today's Tuesday, maybe Sunday. See, tomorrow I'm getting my 6 windows removed and replaced with impact glass. So the window supplier will be taking boxes of windows and construction items in an elevator, up my elevator to my floor. And it's a very nice elevator, stainless, new, only a couple years old. A person you put up pads to protect that elevator when you know you're going to be moving stuff. You don't want to hurt it. But somebody had already put pads up on the elevator. And I thought, I'm going to put a note. I hand wrote a note to ask, would they leave the pads up? Because see, they're not easy. The elevator's tall. At the top, there's a hook, and there's little holes where you stick the top of these padded pads with a clip through this hole to attach them. You have to get on a ladder or get somebody to help you. They're already up. So I put a note asking, would they please leave them because I got my windows being installed Wednesday and Thursday. And a person called me to tell me, yes, I'll leave them up. They're there because somebody's moving in the unit. So all I did was the thought came, because see, those could have come down and then I would have had more work to do. I just did what the thought was, see if somebody can leave the pads up. So what I'm talking about here is making life simpler, easier on all of us, is the flow of things, making things easier. So as I went down the elevator to put my note in the elevator, then there's a bulletin board on the first floor by the elevator where we can post notes. And I was posting a note apologizing for all this noise that's going to go on in my condo when they grind out these windows and install these new ones, right? And there sitting on this bench was this lady with a bruised chin and her arm in a sling, and one of my friends here. And I look at her and I go, oh, I'm so sorry. And I didn't want to know the details, didn't need to know that. She was just coming back from the clinic. And I looked at her and I said, who's going to walk your dog? And she goes, I don't know. She had just fallen that day. And I volunteered because I know her and I know her dog to walk her dog. And it's about 3 or 4 times a day. Now we're going to get a couple other people to help me. But the point is, that woman sitting there, I see her because I'm going there to put a note on the bulletin board about apologizing for the noise. There she is. And it comes to me to help her. And I feel really good about that. I like helping her and I like being around the dog and having the dog be able to go on his walks and not be shortened on the number of walks. Now, that's just the flow of this life that's unfolding now in naturalness, is what I'm seeing, because I'm aware of it, I'm looking at it this way. It's from the inside of my mind, I'm looking at things differently, naturally. Now, part of that has come about because, as I've talked to you over the years, we want to develop empathy and compassion towards our brothers, which that was something I didn't have 3 or 4 years ago. I was just trying to wake myself up, let alone anybody else. You can't fix anyone, but if anybody is attracted to you, then you can explain some truths to them if they are open to it. But the thing is, empathy and compassion for our brothers and sisters, and give them a shoulder to talk on, or help them if you can, lend a hand if you can, while we're practicing these truths. And now I see it's natural. This is a natural thing that occurred. I was presented that opportunity. Now I could have said no, but because I knew her and knew the dog, it became a yes, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm helping her. So what I see from this whole breath work I did and all this years of practice that I've done is to get to this natural state, natural body, natural heart, mind, natural breath and energy. I had no idea what this would look like, and I'm getting a glimpse now. And as this unfolds, I'll be able to explain better with you what's going on, because I'm feeling my way through it. Now we're at 8:04. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's take a moment and look at the tiles and think of our brothers and sisters as spirit, as God, I love you, God Barbie, God Dee, God Debbie, God Julia, all those that see the video later. Thank you for coming out. Tonight, your energy and love and light is so beautiful and so helpful to me. I so appreciate it. And those that listen to the video later and send out their light and love to the universe, which needs it. Even though it's an illusion, we still can do our part by doing beneficent things to our neighbors and friends, and even social activism. I heard a thing where Lama Surya Das was doing a teaching, and somehow they kept a record and know that Buddha was a social activist. He did certain things out in the world besides his spiritual work. So if you're guided to help or do anything about the environment or whatever, feel free to do it. Spread your light and love and help restore planet Earth, because it's beyond that, what we're talking about. I know this is not really here, but do we want to destroy the earth? Do we want to harm each other with our thoughts, let alone with guns or violence or whatever? We can send our light and love and support through many different ways, and you'll be guided what to do or say, etc. And we're not missionaries. We're not missionaries. Whoever's attracted to you, then you know what to share. That, and what you're sharing, the bottom line, what you're sharing is your nature, is communicating the nature of mind, is this vast spaciousness that's forever creative. It's forever creating images, thoughts, and feelings that we do not want to repress or deny. We let them come and go on this clear light mind. We don't have to act on them. We don't have to do them. We don't have to invite people to Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. We can set our boundaries, but yet we think of them as spirit, God, I love you. But this is an integration of form and emptiness, where we're awakening back to where there's no separate earth and heaven state, back to that pre-separation state of the Garden of Eden, where everything is awakened and remembers what it is. The nature of its mind is it makes these thoughts, feelings, and images up. That's what it does. That's the lucid, creative part of the mind. But we're but we're spontaneous to it, awake and alert, and can respond and get in that sacred zone of that flow of things where we respond from that gap between thoughts to have a pause to respond and not react to these thoughts and feelings that are going on in the mind and out in front of us. But yet we can set boundaries, don't walk out in front of a car. We still do our taxes, balance our budget, or our checkbook or whatever. It's just a beautiful way of you feeling that stillness and calmness as you move about in this world from your spirit light within this body. It's totally amazing, totally calm, still, smooth, open, relaxed. It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming out. Now, tonight I've made a note. Stop the recording, not the meaning. Because we stay and chat a little bit for those that want to. And I love you all, and I hope I did justice to this holistic teaching that I did tonight. I'm still getting my feet under me about what's going on. Okay, thank you, thank you. Now, pause, stop recording.